What up, my good people? This is your boy Dr. Candles in the building, aka the humble trader. So most of you have been trading demand and supply concept the wrong way. Most of you have been literally trading it the wrong way. That is why your zones doesn't hold. You'll be like, wow, I draw a nice zone, but it's not working. That is why most of you are complaining this demand and supply doesn't work. This is because you don't really know how to draw a perfect zone. You don't know the exact zone to trade. There are zones that you don't need to consider. So if you really want to know which of the demand zone you should be trading, then you have to be on this call till the end, because I am going to explain to you how to trade with the concept of demand and supply the right way. So without wasting much time, let me just give you a brief description of what demand and then supply zones are, how they look like. So whenever market rallies up then down, create a level of higher high and then higher low, and then suddenly breaks that level with a momentum candlestick. When I say momentum candlestick, what I literally means is any candlestick that is huge as compared to the normal. So example of a momentum candlestick is this type of candlestick. So those are the momentum candlesticks. So after a move up, down, and then a momentum candlestick should able to break through a major resistance or a support area, you can say what there is an area of what supply or demand zone you can draw. So if it is to the upside, you can what take the candlestick that form before that big move to be your what demand zone. So in this case, this will be my one demand zone, right? Okay, so what I will be anticipating is for market to pull back to the exact area, and then what I will buy the pair for this pair to start pushing up like this. I hope that is clear. So this is where you will buy exactly at the what retest of that zone. You buy your stop loss above. That is just basically the concept of what demand. Now let us move on to the concept of supply. So assuming market is trending down, up, and then suddenly a momentum candlestick breaks through a major zone or a major structure like this. You see, this is a major what supply support zone that a momentum candlestick was able to what break through it. So in that case, you can what draw a supply zone by considering what the candlestick that formed before that the momentum candlestick. So in this case, this will now be your what supply zone. So this is just a short description of demand and then supply zone. Now, so all you will be waiting is for markets to pull back to that area, then you will expect what a massive drop of this pair. Then you what sell here, stop loss what above. So that is just basically a little concept about what the demand and then supply. Now, most of you have been complaining. Those who don't really know how to trade demand and supply profitably will just draw this zone, and then they will be waiting for market to hit that zone to buy or sell. Unfortunately, whenever market gets that area, it breaks through the zone, and then what it hit them, or they end up what losing from the market. This is because you guys are not following the exact rules for demand and supply. So I'm going to show you one of the secrets that when you are drawing this demand and supply, you are going to be profitable only if you what follow one of these simple rules. So one of them is what the trend. Now, after identifying what a demand and a supply zone, the first thing to check is the trend of the market. Okay, the first thing to check is the trend of the market. So remember, I told you, like, if you want to identify a trending market, the market should be what going like forming higher high and then what a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So if you spot a market that is what forming this kind of pattern, like going high, higher low, higher high, higher low, like this, that we what consider that kind of market what as an uptrend market. The same way when you see market falling, creating a level of lower low and a lower highs, lower lows, lower highs like this, we say what? The market is what? An obvious what? Downtrend market. I hope that is clear. So this will be your uptrend, and then this will be your uptrend, and the other one will now be your what? Downtrend. So as you can see, if for instance we are to consider this market, you bear with me that this is what? An uptrend market, because as you can see, this market is creating a whole level of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, that pattern. So this is basically telling you that this market is what? An uptrend market. Now you can clearly see there are a whole lot of what? Demand and then supply zones that what you can draw on this market. Now, one of the reasons why most of you fail is that you see the momentum candlestick, you draw your demand or supply zone, and end up what? Failing. This is because you are not following the simple rule. Now, because you have identified that this market is an uptrend market, the first thing to do is to just look out for possible what? Demand zones. Any supply zones you see on this chart, because it is an uptrend market, you ignore the supply zone. So all we will be searching here is to see what? A demand zone being created. So for instance, as you can see, this is an example of what? A momentum candlestick that break through what? A structure. If you had draw your demand zone here, you see market is gonna what? Respect that zone. So clearly, as you can see, market what? Respected that. So after that huge movement, market came back to that same zone, and then boom. So if you had bought here, you will have been what? A massive what? Profit. So the same concept applies here. If you had considered this huge move, right? If you had considered this huge move and then this huge move, you could have what? Draw a demand zone here, and then another one here, right? So as you can see, this was the momentum candlestick that break through a previous structure. So as you can see, when market went up and then came back to that same area, a huge reversal. So that is the reason why you are taking that demand zone is because you are in an uptrend market. Now let me still consider this same market and then show you something. You all bear with me that this is an obvious what? Momentum candlestick, right? So if you had drawn a supply zone thinking that market is gonna respect it, then my brother, you have failed, because this market is gonna what? Kick your ass, and then you will what? Eventually what? Blow your account or hit stop loss around this area. This is because the overall trend of the market is what? An uptrend market. So we ignore any what? Supply zone. The same concept here, as you can see, this is an obvious what? Momentum candlestick that we could have what? Draw what? A supply zone there, thinking that anytime market gets to that area is gonna drop. But however, you see what happened? Market went there and then finally boom. So this is because it is actually what? Against the trend. So what I want you to understand is that anytime you are trading, just consider the trend of the market. So until market what? Stop creating level of higher high and then higher low, then you can what? Be looking for what? A downtrend structure. But as you can see, market this high is obviously higher than this, so this now becomes a new higher high, and this is also what? Obviously higher than that, so this now become what? A new what? Higher high. I hope that is clear. And then now, as you can see, this also is what? Higher than that, so this will also now be what? Our new higher. So still the market is what? Trending up. Then now let us move further and see what's going to happen here. All right, so you see, so from here, market is still what, creating what, a level of what, higher high and a higher low. So still, this market is still what, an uptrend market. So as you can see, a very momentum candlestick here. If you had draw your what, supply zone, demand zone here, because it's an uptrend, this demand zone is going to hold. So you see, market went up with momentum candlestick, came back exactly at that area, then boom, started what, reversing. The same concept happened here. You see, same concept happened here. See, market went with a huge momentum candlestick, came back exactly, and then started what, trending high. So if you had bought here, you will have been in what, massive profit to your TP. So this is what, an obvious what, momentum candlestick. If you had draw your zone there thinking it's a supply zone, market is gonna kick your ass and you will be out of the market. Now you see, this is another opportunity. You see, as you can see, this was another one. This was another one. You see, market created a huge momentum candlestick. When it came back there, literally gave some huge sum of profit before what, finally breaking through. Now, because I said we were creating a level of higher high and then higher lows, higher high and higher lows, that is why I said this market is what, trending up. You see, just like the example I gave you. So market is trending up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I hope that is clear. So once this market keeps what, giving us a level of higher highs and higher lows, then we can consider the market as an what, uptrend market. Now this case, should market start trending down, creating level of lower low and then lower high, then you can obviously say market is what, now changing direction. So obviously, since this is a downtrend, what you're gonna do is to what, switch from demand zone to supply zone. So instead of buying, now you will be what, selling. So that is one of the key things that we should be looking out for in trading demand and then what, supply. So as you can see, this level was just creating new highs and then new highs. Suddenly this market started creating what, a new lows. This was supposed to be higher than that, but now it becomes what, a low. So it becomes what, a lower high. Then now market now breaks through the previous lower low to create a new lower low. I hope that is clear. So telling you that this market is about to change its trend now to what, an obvious what, downtrend. So now we are moving from an uptrend to what, downtrend, because there is new lower low and the new lower high. Instead of market to create a new higher high, it is now creating what, a new what, lower high. So this is lower than that, this is lower than that. So obviously what you'll be looking out for is what, a demand supply structure. So like what we just saw here, you see, if you had taken this setup, you will have been in massive profit. So I remember we took this trade on our mentorship page. So this is an example of what, a demand, a supply structure. So all you need to do is to take trade only at the what, supply area. So now see, so this is an obvious what, momentum candlestick. You could have just draw your zone. Anytime market gets there, you now what, pick your trade. Another concept here, you see, because it is an obvious trend, so all you need is to draw what, a supply zone. Market gets there, you see how massive it fell. Now someone will ask me, is this not a momentum candlestick? This is an obvious momentum candlestick, right? But you see what happened when market get there, market literally what, sink through. The same concept here. This is what, a momentum candlestick. But when you draw your zone here, you see what happens to the market. Market literally what, break through that zone. This is because the trend is what, a downtrend market. And remember I said, whenever you are trading on a downtrend market, you ignore demand zones. You only focus on what, the supply zones, until you see a clear break in what, structure. So this is obviously what has been happening over and over again. You see, because it's a downtrend momentum candlestick, create your zone, boom, you see how market what, literally what, paid you. So that is obviously how you can take advantage of those big moves from the market. You see, this is what an obvious what demand zone, because the trend was still what a downtrend. You see how market what smashed through it, and then you will be what in a huge loss. So that is basically how you can take advantage. So let me just give you the trade we took last week on CAD-JPY. I know most of you have been monitoring me on Instagram. You see, I was just posting my students' results on CAD-JPY. So this is the actual setup. No magic. We were just trading based on this concept. I hope you understand. The trend was what? An obvious downtrend. As you can see, when we draw our supply zone, market came there, huge momentum candlestick, then boom. This setup is almost what 1:8, and we've already what hit our TP. So that is basically how you can take advantage of this supply and demand areas to make money onto the market. So if you have learned something from this video, then try to smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, try and then subscribe, because I am going to share the rest of the 5 edges, so that if you were trading demand and supply the wrong way, trust me, maybe after watching my first, second, third, fourth, fifth video on demand and supply, you are literally going to be trading it the right way and then start cashing out some huge sum of money. So thank you guys, peace out.